Russian President Putin has arrived, and it was said to be quite the ceremony that was going to be put on for his arrival. We are waiting to see whether or not we can actually see the Russian president in vision. I believe the camera is shaking just a little bit. This could potentially be his motorcade pulling up right now. It is obviously a momentous visit, considering it is following on from his re-election. That's probably going to see Vladimir Putin being in control of Russia for at least until 2030. And obviously it is coming at a time where there is much scrutiny and consternation from parts of the international community, considering the ongoing war that Russia is engaged with Ukraine and some of the China support that some are suggesting Russia has been receiving. And you can see Vladimir Putin there walking up the stairs. Let's go to Sam for a little bit more on the latest relating to this, I suppose, and China at large.
Yeah, so they're rolling out the red carpet, it seems, for Putin this morning. He touched down in Beijing at 4 a.m. this morning. So getting down to brass tacks there with President Xi Jinping in this welcoming ceremony. As you say, Will, really both presidents are looking for reassurances from each other. No doubt he is wanting reassurances about support for his economy at a time when, of course, China has been snapping up these cheap commodities at a discount. In fact, the discount has been coming. I think I have the number here, about $4 billion saved in the first 9 months last year. That's China snapping up some of this oil and gas. But no doubt wanting reassurances, as you say, Will, also on Ukraine. President Xi Jinping will no doubt reassure his friend there about the partnership, but he will be wanting reassurances as well, no doubt, on the nuclear threat and North Korea, as we've seen ties certainly growing between the two. So in terms of what to look out for, whether there will be any economic trade deals signed in public, because we know that the Chinese are obviously very wary, very hesitant of course, the ramifications of providing this support to Russia, given the warnings that we've had from the US. We've had Secretary Blinken just in China a few weeks ago reiterating that and the ramifications if China were to do something like that. But President Xi Jinping has just been in Europe as well, so no doubt he'll be briefing Putin on those meetings he had with the French, and also over in sort of more Russia-friendly, China-friendly countries like Hungary and Serbia as well. The timing, of course, interesting as well, because Putin has just, of course, started this fifth term. This is the second time we've seen Putin in China in the last year. The last time he was at the Belt and Road Forum. And this is the 43rd time that these two presidents have met. So there he is, shaking a lot of people's hands. They'll be going off and having these meetings where no doubt Ukraine, the economy, trade will all be discussed. And then there is an expectation that he'll also be heading over to Harbin, which is in the north of China, very close Russian ties, and they will be talking about other economic issues. One thing that Putin does want is that Power of Siberia 2 pipeline, and that is, of course, the one that's going to be running through Russia to China via Mongolia. And there had been a sort of bit of an awkward exchange last year when President Xi went to Russia, whether that had actually been set in stone. President Putin at the time had sort of suggested that maybe it was a done deal, but the Chinese said that there are still more details to flesh out with regards to that. And then this project perceivably has hit a few snags. Construction has been delayed on that, as reports have been suggesting earlier this year. So there's been a lot of questions as to whether China actually needs all that gas as well. But interesting, because President Putin also had many gas and oil CEOs and businessmen, executives in tow last time he went to China. Of course, that was for the Belt and Road Forum. But we know that the Gazprom CEO, according to reports, has actually been over in Iran. So that's an interesting line to track as well. But certainly trade between the two sides, $240 billion last year, up 26%. And we know that a lot of this has been around the cars and the phones. No doubt China, of course, has been filling the void from the Western countries and companies, Tanny, that have been exiting the Russian market. But yeah, it's another display of the No Limits partnership here in Beijing this morning. But I think it's going to be interesting to see if there are limits on that No Limits partnership.